Do you really need to put spin on the ball? Is it advantageous for you? Because let's face it, spin can either be the best or the worst part of your game. Now, if you stay to the end of this video, you're gonna know if spin is right for you.
Wherever you are in the world, hope you're doing well. We're your coaches. My name is Tony Roig.
And I'm CJ Johnson. And together at Better Pickleball, we're here to help you play your best pickleball and have the most amount of fun. One of the questions that Tony and I get asked frequently is about spin, specifically about topspin. And there's no doubt that topspin can be helpful to your game. There's also no doubt that it can cause a variety of problems, right, Tony?
Yeah, it's definitely an area of a lot of interest for players out there thinking that spin is going to revolutionize their game. And topspin certainly can add another layer to your game. However, it can also lead to a lot of errors and a lot of inconsistency with your shots and a lot of frustrations. What Coach CJ and I have seen is players who add spin too early into their games actually end up regressing, actually end up going backwards in how they play the game.
In just a moment, we are going to show you how to topspin the ball. But the first thing you need to do is determine if it's the right time to add spins to your game.
Absolutely, Coach. Too often we see our players who start wanting to add spins to their game, so they start trying to spin everything, so they're hitting up here dinking and they're trying to hit these topspin dinks. But the problem is they're making too many errors, right? So what you want to do before you start spinning those balls is make sure that you're able to consistently get the ball over the net, into the court the way you want, unattackable, with a flat shot first. Because I'm going to tell you something, even if you know how to spin the ball, sometimes you're going to want to hit it flat. Even the pros do it. So make sure that you have the basic fundamentals of your stroke down pat and you can hit 500 of these without missing before you decide to start adding these kind of crazy spins to your strokes. Coach, let's show them also what it looks like from the baseline in terms of having consistency with your shots before you start spinning those balls.
As Coach Tony mentioned, having consistency in your shot before you add spins is important. So not only do you need to have consistency up at the NVZ, we've now moved into the transition zone. You need consistency from here as well before you add spins.
The key is wherever you're standing on the court, you want to make sure that you can consistently get the ball to go where you want it to go, in the way you want it to get there, before you start adding any kind of spin to it, including that topspin shot. Coach, let's show them also from the baseline. It's the same thing from back here, right? You get to the baseline here. If you can't successfully execute a bunch of shots from back here in the baseline, it is not time to add excessive spin to your shots. And to be clear, most of your shots are going to have spin anyway. So what we're talking about here is where you're adding that extra, trying to impart that extra spin into your shot.
Coach Tony and I are going to give you some tips on how to add spin to your game. But the most important thing is before you do this, make sure that you're consistent hitting your shots from a variety of places to the court, because this is definitely something that can add a lot of inconsistency, unforced errors, and the dreaded pop-up.
All right, Coach, let's show them, show the players a little bit about topspin here. If you're not really sure what topspin means, we're going to put a video up here that you can check out that'll explain really more in depth all the different spins. You can understand what they all are, so you have a full understanding of what it is that you're trying to accomplish with the ball. We're going to show you up here at the non-volley zone, Coach. So what we're going to do is right now I'm dinking it first. I'm dinking in a flat manner. So I'm basically getting into the ball and just extending the paddle through the ball. That's a flat shot, even though the ball is still going to spin, because that's just how the universe has set up the laws of physics. But if I wanted to add topspin to it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start brushing up on that ball. So I'm going to start brushing up like that, right? So I start brushing up on the back of the ball. What that does is it creates a forward rotation on the ball, adding spin to it. The advantage of spin is it'll dip as it clears over the net, right? And it also has the possibility of popping up more on the other end. Two disadvantages to topspin. One, that disadvantage right there. If you don't get enough lift on it, you hit it right into the net. The other disadvantage CJ mentioned a second ago is that you over-rotate it and you end up with a pop-up and a potential put away.
One of the things that you want to make sure that you're careful about doing as you add spin to your game is that you don't brush up on the ball too much. We see a lot of players who start it looks like a windshield wiper action with the paddle. That's going to lead to a lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah, there's a fine line between how much I brush up on it versus brushing up on it too much. And that's something that'll take time to learn, time to develop. Unless, of course, you come from another racket sports background, primarily tennis. Usually tennis players have a feel for that, already have a sense for that. So if you already know how to spin it, knock yourself out spinning the ball. The real errors come in with players who don't have an extensive tennis background, trying to add spins to their game too soon.
Tony, why don't we show players what often happens is players start thinking that they need to use their wrist to create topspin.
Yeah. There's a little bit of wrist involved for sure, right? When I'm brushing up on that ball, I have some wrist on it, right? Mostly from the shoulder, and I still have to go forward through the ball because I need the ball to go forward and up over the net. What ends up happening is players end up overusing their wrist, right? So they're trying to add so much spin to it. By lifting that wrist like that, it becomes a very inconsistent shot if I'm using mostly a wrist like that, lifting the wrist like that as a windshield wiper in order to generate the spin. So that's why it takes some time to learn this. If you come from a tennis background, you probably already have that sort of feel for spin. But if you don't come from a tennis background, really be careful about adding spins too early to your game.
Topspin and spins in general can either be great, or if you're not quite ready for them, they can cause you a lot of problems. Now, if you'd like to learn more about balls that spin, as well as other strategy tips, click on this link right over here, because together we can train smart, live bold, and age well.